Hi everybody, we're back here in the Skills Centre in Axminster. Today I'm going to be looking at work holding on the lathe, and in particular how we remove the sacrificial foot from our bowl. If you're making a decorative bowl, you don't want the foot of the bowl to get in the way of the design that you're making. So what I've done is I've used a sacrificial step here just purely to hold that piece while we create the shape inside and outside, and then sand and polished. But now I need to remove that foot. So we're going to reverse it. We're going to hold this bowl now on the rim. Now, most of you will probably be aware of things like button jaws. The button jaws are pieces of aluminium like this with your 8 buttons, and those 8 buttons then hold the rim of the bowl whilst you take that foot away. But what I'd like to focus on today are a set of jaws called wood plate jaws. Wood plate jaws are probably my favourite simply because the size of the recess is down to you. You can create whatever size recess that you want simply by making a set of wooden jaws to go on to our wood plate jaws here. Now what I'm going to do, we're going to go through the process of how to set these up and actually make a cut and then finish our bowl off. Okay, so we're ready to set our wood plate jaws up. We have our wood plate jaw itself. Now I've already set this up onto a mounting jaws just by screwing through and centering them by pinching the chuck up together. We've got our 4 quadrants of plywood here. Now it's entirely up to you. You can cut a disc out and then divide that quadrant up, or do what I've done and literally just save timber. You can just do a strip of ply and then cut your quadrants out from that. Now all we have left to do here is attach our wood plate jaws. Now that's fairly simply done, and we don't have to be over accurate. That's the first thing to not worry about. We're going to make sure that the side face of our plate jaw is aligned with the side face of the quadrant. Then just put some marks with a bradawl, just to keep it nice and accurate. And then slightly larger ones, or you can drill at this point. Just do a little pilot drill would be probably better. And you've probably noticed already that this is a single sheet of ply. Now one thing you need to consider if you're using a single sheet, and I'm only using a single sheet here purely because the demonstration. If you want to double up like I've done on this one, then a good PVA would be fine. Just joint them together, give them plenty of time to dry, and it gives you a little bit more room to turn, but also it gives you a bit more room away from the screws that are about to screw through here. So that's set up now. If I just put that jaw plate back, we'll use a decent gauge of screw. This is a 4.5 here, so they're around about an 8. So once I put the first one in, just check to make sure that nothing's crept out a little bit, and then you carry on and do all the rest. So there we are, that's the last screw in there. One other little tip before we move to the lathe. We know that our jaws are all numbered. There's a sequence that the jaws have to go into. So we've got a mounting jaw numbered, we've actually got the plate jaw numbered, but it's on the side that is now covered up. What we'll do is number this top plate. So this is number 2 jaw, so we'll put a number 2 there, and just to avoid any confusion, another number 2 on there, and why not one on the back as well. And we'll do that to all of them. So we've got number 1 and number 3. There we are. Now we can move to the lathe and cut our recesses. Okay, so I've mounted the jaws onto the chuck now. What we need to do, we're going to cut the recess in, we're going to measure the bowl. But to do that, we don't want to close these jaws up and then cut the recess, otherwise you're going to have no grip there at all. So we're just going to hold a small piece of dowel in the centre of our jaws, pinch them up nice and tight, and make sure nothing's vibrating. They mustn't be loose when you start cutting the recess. So that's nice and tight. Next thing, bring the tool rest up nice and close. Lathe speed to 0, turn the machine on, and then we'll get a slow speed going. Now I'm going here at the moment, I'm going at about 600 revs, but nice and slow. We're going to measure the bowl, and then I've already set these up, half the measurement, and then we can start cutting. That's going to give us a nice size to grip that bowl. So if we go through that process now, So that's the diameter of the bowl. We know we've got a little bit of closure there. So we'll take a couple of cuts. So that's the diameter correct. I'm just going to take some of that waste material out now so we can get the bowl in there. And then we're just going to make a slightly dovetailed surface to hold it a little bit more secure. So now we can undo the chuck, take that piece of dowel out, and that should be able to hold the bowl ready for our sanding. There we are, so that's held in there nice and securely now. All that's left to do now is finish the turning, take the foot away, sand and polish. So there we are, that's that foot taken away. I have left a little decorative ring on the bottom, but you could take it right off, round it over, do whatever you want really. So another jaw there, that's going to help solve some of your work holding needs. And like all of our jaws, it's made right here in Axminster in Devon.